Oh God, man. I can't even talk right now. I'm still wide awake. I can't even surpass what the Eagles just did right now. Okay, the Philadelphia Bulldawgs, that's what they should call us because, man, they got some monsters in the first round. I want to talk about all the news that happened, just how the draft board fell, the two players we drafted, the NFC East in general, and some other news behind the scenes too. So I want to go through all of that, and wow, Howie just, what a great first round.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? Hope it's on a fantastic day. So, the first round for the Philadelphia Eagles, we were nervous. We didn't know what was going to happen. We were hoping the board was going to fall really well. And to be honest with you, the draft board fell that good for the Philadelphia Eagles. Going to the first round was pretty amazing. But before I get into all of that, some news did come out before the draft, pretty much even probably right before the draft even started, with some Jonathan Gannon news for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, apparently there has been a tampering, illegal tampering that happened with the Philadelphia Eagles on the hiring of Jonathan Gannon to the Cardinals. Now, before the draft even started, news was kind of pouring out that Jonathan Gannon actually got in trouble. He actually lied to us. Remember, he told us that he was staying in Philadelphia. They kind of just had this meeting all of a sudden with the Cardinals, and we as fans didn't really get why this was going on. So the news behind the scenes of Jonathan Gannon pretty much getting in trouble was Gannon talking to the Cardinals GM right before the NFC Championship game. So now the Eagles were actually rewarded some picks, at least one pick. They swapped third rounders. The Eagles gave the Cardinals a fifth rounder for 24, but the Eagles actually got a bigger third round pick. They were at the bottom shelf in the third round. I think now they're at 60. I forgot what the pick was. They're at 66, 65. So they have like the top fifth or sixth pick in the third round. So they were at the bottom of the third round. And because of this situation with Jonathan Gannon, I think it's more of the Cardinals getting in trouble of not tampering at the right time to talk to Jonathan Gannon. The Eagles were actually rewarded a higher third round pick out of that whole situation, which is kind of crazy. So obviously the Eagles have a second and a third round pick between 62 and 65, 62 and 65 or 62 and 66. I forgot what pick it is because people are saying it's 65, people are saying it's 66. I have no idea, but you got some better ammo now for the second day of the draft, which I was pretty happy about. So Gannon's an idiot, Gannon's a moron. That's just what it is. And I was kind of shocked when this news came out. It was kind of really out of nowhere. I didn't want to make sure it was a fake account. I kind of wanted to check, and it wasn't. Adam Schefter had this news all over the place. So that was the news on Jonathan Gannon. The Eagles got a much, way better third-round pick, which is great. A top 5-6 pick into the third round, which is awesome. Now, yeah, we went through the first round, and, we were kind of looking to see what was going on here, how the board was going to fall. Okay, number one, I really wanted to see the Seattle Seahawks and really where they were going with their pick. Okay, now, obviously drafting Witherspoon was probably the biggest surprise. I figured they were going to go after Jalen Carter. I didn't think Jalen Carter was going to make it at 9 or right to the Eagles, right at their front door. I figured he was going to be top 5, 6, at least go to 6 or something like that. If they pass Seattle, if Jalen Carter was able to pass Seattle, there was somewhat of a chance the Eagles could trade up. But the Eagles actually sat there tight. I mean, they had control. They must have found out what other teams were going to draft, which was pretty amazing. And, they were really patient in that first round. It got me a little nervous. Obviously, Bijan Robinson went in at 8 to Atlanta, which obviously Bijan was the third best player on my board. And obviously, if Jalen Carter was there at the same time as Bijan, if Bijan lasted a little bit longer, I would have took Jalen Carter regardless. Obviously, Bijan was my guy. They didn't get him. Jalen Carter, I would say, nonetheless, he's the best player in this draft. Okay, they got a monster. They got a guy with great explosiveness, aggressiveness. You already replaced Javon Hargrave, okay? But not only that, but Javon Hargrave, Jalen Carter got to 9. The Eagles traded up. They only traded a 4th-round pick. That was it. So Carter was there at 9. Howie actually said he didn't know what the Bears were doing, so literally was like, hey, we'll throw you a pick. We need to get to 9. So they traded with the Bears. They got to 9. They picked Jalen Carter, and the Bears were another team that, as Jalen Carter was falling down, I was saying to myself, man, I really hope, Bijan's gone. Will Anderson went to the Texans, which I was kind of surprised when the Texans moved back up. I think they had the 12th overall pick. And for the Eagles to go up in the top 5 to get him, there was a lot of rumors about going to the top 5. But, I mean, what the Texans gave up to just get into the top 5 to trade with the Cardinals at the number 3 overall pick. I mean, it was 2 firsts, a second, a third. I mean, they gave up so many picks, and it wasn't even for a quarterback. It was for a defensive end and Will Anderson, which, I think it was a great pickup for them. But, man, like Howie Roseman was not going to give up that many picks. So once Jalen Carter got past Seattle, when they picked up Witherspoon, I thought it was very realistic. Bijan went to Atlanta, which really made no sense to me. I mean, two running backs went in the top 15. It's kind of insane. Okay, even with Jahmyr Gibbs going to the Lions, to me it just the Gibbs thing really confused me. Why they drafted him so high? I guess he's a good player, but and just to tell you guys were against getting a running back in the first round, but anything could happen, guys. You had two running backs go in the top 15, which is pretty crazy. I don't think Bijan. I don't know what Bijan's going to do. The Falcons only have a quarterback right now. It just makes no sense. That pick makes no sense. They have drafted skill position after skill position the past few years, and they still don't have a quarterback right now. They're a rebuilding franchise right now, and you draft a running back that early. It makes no sense to me what the Falcons are doing, but got to move on. Jalen Carter was still there at 9. Eagles traded a 4th-round pick. They moved up a spot, and they got him instantly. And I got to say, Jalen Carter, we actually, in the beginning when Jalen Carter got picked, he looked mad. As the Eagles were on the clock, he looked like he was pissed off, but I don't think he was. I think he was just really emotional, like, oh my God, I'm getting drafted. This is happening. And once he got drafted, he was so emotional. He was crying the whole time. He got on stage, and I cannot wait. You literally got the second best player in this draft. And I would say probably the first best player, to be honest with you. I'd say he's the best at his position, the best player in this draft. Okay. I'm shocked Carter didn't go earlier, obviously with the outside noise, what was going on with everything going on with him. But I got to say, Carter is going to be a beast. This is your replacement for Javon Hargrave, okay? They literally replaced Javon Hargrave, saved $21 million a year, okay? Not only that, giving up that 4th-round pick to the Bears for that next year's pick in 24, that 4th-round pick they gave up to move 1 spot, they're going to get that pick back from compensatory picks from Javon Hargrave. So literally they gave up nothing to get him. They gave up nothing, theoretically. That pick, that compensatory pick from Javon Hargrave signed that big deal with the 49ers, they might actually get a 3rd-rounder comp pick from Hargrave going. You know what I mean? So it's actually pretty amazing how he works his cap and works these draft picks in the compensatory pick game, and he's going to get that pick back. He might even get a higher pick. It might actually be a 3rd-round pick for Hargrave actually signing. You replace that with a younger, great talent that's not getting paid $21 million a year, and you just made your defensive line stronger for the future, and a big future Jalen Carter has. Okay, now Jalen Carter, to me, has been, obviously, a lot of Eagles fans do not like this pick. There's some Eagle fans that really hate it. I was moving past all of what was going on. At the end of the day, a lot of mistakes were made, okay? When you're younger, you make a lot of mistakes. I totally get it. Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni at that press conference after the draft, some of the beat writers were being pretty crazy. Like, oh, they asked him, why would you ask Jalen Carter after he gets drafted in an interview, about, what happened? And he was just trying to just push it, to the side and enjoy the moment. It's his night. I don't know why guys are trying to ruin his night and talk about this outside noise stuff that has happened. Obviously, and Howie Roseman fought back at some of these beat writers at the press conference. We know what this guy is. We know what he's capable of. We people make mistakes at a young age. The support system that that Jalen Carter is going to have. Now, Jordan Davis, if you guys didn't know, he was a big mentor for Jalen Carter. Obviously, with Nakobe Dean as well, and even Jalen Carter talking about that, Nakobe Dean and Jordan Davis were like two of the top leaders of in Georgia when they were playing together. And I think the support system's really going to help him, and I think this is a monster player. I think a lot of Eagles fans, I think once they start seeing him play, I think you're going to see a big difference here. Okay, and look what you have to learn under with Fletcher Cox and some of these veterans you have on this defensive line, who he can learn from. Fletch could take him right under his wing. And you know what? I mean, this is a day one blue chip starter that's going to impact right now. Okay, I love this guy. I was willing to go by all the outside noise, and if the Eagles pick him and the Eagles agree that they could make him into something special and he's a great person and they've done their digging, because obviously Howie Roseman did say at the press conference that they've looked into his situation. They hire their own PIs. They try to look at different things and try to see what's going on with, obviously, what's going on in his life. And obviously there was a lot of stuff going on. His pro day wasn't great. We all know that. And like I said, there was a lot going on. Didn't work out the combine. So, it was a lot. It was a lot to take in, and fans were just like, nope, it's a red flag, don't want to take this guy. But I'm so happy he is here. And look, if you don't agree, I am sorry, but I love this pick, and you literally just got your future at defensive tackle, and it was great. So I'm very proud of it. I thought the Eagles literally gave up nothing for him to move up one spot, and who would have known he would have fell to us right at 10, pretty much between 9 and 10. He fell to us. I didn't expect that to happen. Seattle was a big surprise getting Witherspoon. Huge surprise at 5. I didn't even expect it. I expected Jalen Carter to retreat and go from 1 to 6. And, excluding quarterbacks, this guy's the best talent that's there. He's the top player in this draft. And, teams probably stayed away because of this situation. I wouldn't doubt it. But I think he's going to do really well here. He's going to be a monster player for this defensive line. And God, can't wait to see him play. It's going to be really interesting. So that's the news on Jalen Carter at 10. Well, really at 9, they got him. And then we're waiting and waiting. We have 4 receivers. Gibbs goes and 4 receivers go in a row. And I'm like, man, this is kind of crazy. The draft board's going down. I mean, then I'm sitting here at we're at 27, 28 of the draft. And I'm like, man, you know what? Brian Branch is still on the board. Maybe they want to go for a guard, Osiris Torrance. Maybe Nolan Smith. They really liked Nolan Smith. I remember that pre-draft visit that they talked about, and how Nolan Smith had a fantastic visit, probably the second best visit they had with a player, and talked about, Nakobe Dean. He talked about, if I could play with these guys again, what it would mean. And I think the camaraderie and brotherhood would be so much better. But I was good with getting Torrance, Branch, or Nolan Smith. But inside, I was like, this is where I want to draft Nolan Smith. I didn't want to draft him early. I didn't want to, so we got a fantastic talent here. Okay, now as much as, the Eagles draft Nolan Smith at 30, everyone's like, oh my God, and this is, and everyone's saying we should have drafted him at 10. I didn't think we should have drafted him that early. To me, I just didn't think it was going to happen. But this pick is great. This pick is fantastic. You have to look at the defensive end position for the future. Okay, it's not just for this year. Okay, Nolan Smith, adding Nolan Smith to this defensive line now, Graham could be gone after this year. Barnett's definitely gone after this year. Hassan Reddick has one more year left on his deal next year. You could potentially lose 3 defensive ends in the next 2 seasons. And you got to replace that with something. I think they've looked at this pick as he's like a hunter. He's a Reddick. He's another Reddick type player on the edge. Obviously, you'd like him at 250, 260 pounds, which I think a lot of teams were like, maybe he's not a great scheme fit, and kind of a lower weight for some teams. But a guy could play outside linebacker. Guy could be an edge rusher. Guy has that 4.3 speed that we were kind of all talking about. As much as I don't take that into account, he's really fast. He's got really good bend. He's got first step explosiveness. He's a fantastic player. I just didn't want to take him at 10. I didn't want to take him in the teens. I want to take him early 20s. That's where I was going through 22, trade up to 22, 24, something like that. I didn't think that Nolan Smith was really going to last this long. But not even just that, though. I mean, the support was absolutely insane. Even Nakobe Dean and Jordan Davis were at Nolan Smith's draft party celebrating with him. And not even two players from two different teams. Literally two other players that are with Nolan Smith are like, dude, we're going to be playing together and we're at your draft party. I've just never seen anything like this. It was cool because Nolan Smith had like these green socks on, so he had a feeling that the Eagles were going to really try to get him. Now, the rumors, not even the rumors, so there was talk that the Eagles were actually looking to trade out of 30. They were going to trade into the second round. They were going to trade back, okay, because that pick took a little bit of time. It was a few minutes, and I was like, oh, no, they're going to trade back. I was like, man, just get Brian Branch, get Nolan Smith. Just get Nolan Smith. And I was hoping that they were going to get it done, and they got it done. Now, Will Levis was still kind of hanging around, so I figured, okay, maybe there's going to be a team that wants to trade up for Will Levis, kind of like when Baltimore traded up to our pick, a few years ago. It was a while ago, but kind of how we traded out of the first round, a while back. They didn't. They actually said at the press conference, Nick and Howie actually said, we were thinking about it, but we didn't want to get too cute. This is the guy. Nolan Smith is the guy. So I am so happy they just took a shot and got him. They literally rebuilt their defensive line the past couple years. Like, they literally rebuilt their defensive line. I mean, it's absolutely insane. I was worried about age. I was worried about guys getting older and guys losing 3 defensive ends in 2 years. Fletcher Cox only on a 1-year deal. But adding, you needed that one more piece at defensive tackle because Fletcher Cox can't play over 70% of the snaps anymore. So he'll play 35 to 45% of the snaps, which is fantastic, okay? I don't care if we didn't get Bijan. I was up, obviously I was like, man, bummer. It was horrible. But he went to a team that just made no sense of getting him unless they were just taking him on purpose. I don't know. I mean, it just made no sense to me. But, Jalen Carter got past 5, really surprised me. Nolan Smith was still sitting there. I mean, it's obviously the Eagles media, so the guys that work for the Eagles that do all the, the live streams and stuff after the draft, they thought he was the 10th pick. They thought he was a 10th. I don't know. Maybe I just look at it differently because he's a little undersized and, he was, hurt late in the season last year. I totally get it. I think Nolan Smith is a great value at 30. I think he's one of the top players in this draft. There's no doubt about it. But as a value standpoint, not as I think he sucks because he's not. He's actually really good. But at 30, I think that was a really good pick. I think it was a nice, really good value to get him there. And your defensive line is just, my God. The last piece to this puzzle is going to be Sean Desai literally coaching this defense. And it's really going to be up to him at the end of the day. We haven't got a press conference from him yet. We kind of know what he's going to do defensively, but I got to say, we should be excited. I want football to start tomorrow. That's how crazy this is right now. So Nolan Smith is, oh man, I absolutely loved it. You got I mean, the Georgia players that you have right now it's just insane. This is monstrous. This is something unheard of. Literally, when do the Eagles and the SEC? It's just, what have they been doing? What changed? What's the 180 that Howie took, or maybe someone was in the middle, or someone was in the way of Howie Roseman, or something like that. I mean, it's gonna be monstrous what they do with this defense and the players that they're getting. No team that comes out of a Super Bowl is gonna get a 10th pick. And trust me, guys, you're not going to get into this situation. We're probably not going to be in this situation for a long time unless Howie trades and gets some big pick out of fleecing another team, since the Saints have been pretty much taking orders from us and really listening to us with our trades. You're not going to get a 10th overall pick ever again. They treat it as a luxury. They treat it as best player available. They treated both as best player available. I was fine with getting Brian Branch, which they never drafted a safety in the first round. I was fine with getting Brian Branch at 30 or, getting Nolan Smith. But actually, as the time went on, I was like, I think Nolan Smith is going to be it. If you're going to tell me that they were going to draft, I would never have thought they were going to draft 2 defensive linemen in the first round. We went defense the whole entire free agency. We literally were starting to regroup, re-sign players, get Terrell Edmonds, get Nicholas Morrow. Nakobe Dean's going to start. Kadavius Street. All of these guys, I was figuring out, We're going to go offense, more offense. I said 2 offensive guys the first 3 picks. I was totally wrong. I was looking for an offensive lineman. Obviously that's for tomorrow, probably second day. They'll probably get one in the second to the third round, but still a lot of players on the board. But 2 defensive linemen, defensive end, defensive tackle, 2 Georgia Bulldogs. I'm overwhelmed. If you were telling me this was going to happen, I was going to say you were wrong. But I'm not right. The draft is a raffle. It's smoke screens and rumors, and that's just what it is. So I hope you guys are happy. I want to know your comments on, obviously getting Jalen Carter, not really giving up that much, and obviously that 4th round pick that we gave up, we're going to have back. Might even be a 3rd round pick because of the comp pick for Javon Hargrave, and then going and getting Nolan Smith and putting these guys with Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean. And you got some leaders in the building, man. You got some dogs. You got some guys that like chips on their shoulders. You got some guys that are really aggressive here, and it's so overwhelming. It's crazy. I want to know what you guys think about just this whole entire first round in general. I think it was an A+ first round. There's no doubt about it. I couldn't give them an A-. How could I? Really? If I was to be that stubborn, I'd say, A- because they didn't get Bijan. No, I don't even care about Bijan because Bijan was the 3rd best player on my board. Carter was there. Now, Bijan was taken before Jalen Carter. I would have never figured that. I would have never figured that was going to happen. I figured Bijan was going to be at 10 regardless. So he went to a team that, So that's all I really got to say. I'm happy. I am beyond satisfied. And wow, it's not over yet. 2nd, 3rd round is going to be very important. Obviously, your 2nd, 3rd round picks could be on the field too. So you got to look out for more. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys give me a draft grade for the first round. If you guys last this long or joined the live stream last night, I hope you guys had a great time. We'll be drafting. We'll be streaming the next 2 days as well. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well if you are new and loved the Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith picks. I know a lot of Eagles fans are really happy, and I'm very happy too. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. The Philadelphia Bulldawgs are coming, So, all right, you guys have a great day. I'll see you guys on the next one. SHAKESQUAD up, follow us live. Peace out, guys. Peace.